Yeah, y'all gonna stop coming in my live talking about this Victor dude, bro. We hooping this year. Y'all gonna see.
Alright team, today we will be tuning into Run It Back, best scenario for number 2 pick to help Victor Wembanyama win title. Now recently, all the videos that I have been seeing, they have been telling the Spurs to trade the number 2 pick for Giannis or like a Kevin Durant, and it's been quite frustrating. I don't understand it, why you would just trade a young and up and coming star on a rookie contract for an aging Giannis or an aging Kevin Durant. But all of the videos I've been seeing, people have just been saying you trade the number 2 pick for Giannis. I don't get it. It's such a win now move, and I don't think the Spurs are ready for that. It narrows your window down compared to if you were trying to build for something in the long term and you would be contenders every year. So me personally, I think you take the number 2 pick, as I've been saying on this channel. But let's go ahead and tune in to this video and see what Chandler, Lou Will, and Michelle Beadle have to say about trading the number 2 pick. I'm going to move myself down here so I'm not in the way of Lou Will.
Let's just do it from the San Antonio side of things, right? Because you could do all of the things we just mentioned, or you keep those picks as is. You add some young guys to what's already a very young but very bright future.
That's what you do.
Roster. Like, does one of those stick out more than the other, Lou? Would you like to go get a bona fide superstar, or do you think you just keep sort of building these young guys?
I think, and I think the Spurs are in a different position. You have a lot of young potential. Now let's go out and get somebody established. Let's go out and get a Kevin Durant. Let's go look around and see if we can put a package together for Giannis. Somebody, like, we got a bunch of youth. At some point, you're gonna have to mix in some vets, some guys that know how to win, that has leadership to get these guys to the promised land. You know.
I think that's what the De'Aaron Fox trade was. Going to get a Giannis would be overkill at this point. And I don't blame him. I know they aren't keeping up with the Spurs as much as we are. And so I'm sure he probably forgot we have De'Aaron Fox or something like that, as crazy as it sounds. Because even at times, I sometimes forget that we traded for De'Aaron Fox because we didn't see many games of him. But I think going to get a player like that, who's a little bit older, a vet, 27-ish, and he's been to the playoffs, he knows how to win somewhat. He was on the Kings. But he did help break their playoff drought. And then you also have Harrison Barnes. I don't know if Chris Paul's coming back, but those two players are some of the vets you need. And not to mention, they're pretty good at basketball. So Giannis, it would be overkill at that point because you'd have to pay Wemby, Giannis, and Fox. And I think we have enough star power.
No, so in that regard, you get the best available second player that's in that draft, and you dangle him like some keys and see what you can go out there and go get to add to Wemby. You got, like I said, you got all the youth in the world. At some point, you got to start establishing yourself as a threat in the Western Conference. You don't want to continue to be 2 and 3 years out. You want to start that clock now before Wemby and giving him the best opportunity to win. So I think the Spurs are in a different position. I think they go out and they get the best player available and they start playing ball from there.
Well, we don't even know what this team looks like. Like, we haven't got a full look at Wemby, Fox, Vassell, Castle, and now we can add Harper. You got to see what that team even looks like. I think they could be a playoff team easily. And so if you're a playoff team with this core, why go out and try to go get a Giannis and shrink your window? Trading for Giannis without even seeing what this team would look like, I think that's doing yourself a disservice. And the Spurs aren't a team that's going to be 2 to 3 years out for 2 to 3 more years. Like, you've seen the improvement. Last season, they had like a 22 win percentage, and this season it jumped up to like 46, around there. And so they're making progress, even with all the injuries, with having an interim coach for the whole season. They're not going to be like the Kings in just the middle of the pack for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, say it's it with me, guys. Race for Sace. Say it. You're gonna hear that a lot.
Listen, it's a good point because right now, let's just say that the Spurs stay put and they take the number 2 pick. They're still kind of just this young, growing, super talented team. They put a package together where they now have like Wemby and Giannis on the floor together with what they already have. Like, mother of.
Hang on, I gotta run that back.
You're gonna hear that a lot.
Listen, it's a good point because right now, let's just say that the Spurs stay put and they take the number 2 pick. They're still kind of just this young, growing, super talented team.
That's where you want to be. You want to be a young, talented, super growing team or whatever he said. Not to mention, there's not going to be teams that are going to want to play the Spurs next season. You have Victor Wembanyama, who should win the Defensive Player of the Year every single year, and De'Aaron Fox. We didn't see a full healthy pairing between those two. Fox had a torn ligament in his finger and Wemby had a blood clot, and they still look scary. They didn't have any chemistry at all. And then you have the Rookie of the Year coming back for year 2. I'm pretty sure he's going to take another step. Dylan Harper, who, man, he's going to be a star. Devin Vassell, hopefully he can have a better season because he was having a down season last year. And so if the Spurs get into the playoffs, I guarantee you there's going to be teams that don't want to see the Spurs in the first round. And for me, for the Spurs making the first round next season or making the playoffs in general, that would be a win for me. I just want Wemby to get into the playoffs next season and understand the atmosphere. And who knows, maybe with their talent, they can go to like the second round or something. But just for them to go to the playoffs, that would be a win for me. And then after the season after that, that's when they could start making their deep runs. Another thing, when you go to the playoffs, you can really see who is getting played off the floor, who fits and who doesn't fit, and then you can make a move according from there. Like if Keldon Johnson just gets played off the floor, you have to trade him. If Devin Vassell gets played off the floor, you have to trade him. I don't think that goes as much for Steph Castle because he would be a second-year player. Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, players like those who have been in the league for years now, they should be able to compete in the playoff atmosphere. So I think you just got to see what this team could do. I think they can make the playoffs and you could go from there. Like I said, I don't agree with trading for Giannis right now.
Put a package together where they now have like Wemby and Giannis on the floor together with what they already have, like mother of pearl. Like now we're talking contender.
Look, teams who go out and trade for a superstar like this, they never win a championship in their first year. When the Bucks traded for Dame, they didn't win a championship their first year. When the Suns traded for those stars, they didn't win a championship their first year. Even when the Lakers traded for Luka, they didn't win a title their first year. It takes time, and I think if you go and trade for Giannis while he's like 30, 31, you got to go through the growing pains of the first year, and so that ages Giannis another year to where he's like 32, and your window is just so much smaller. Like, you're not going to win a ring your first year with Giannis. The team isn't even ready for that because the amount of picks and assets that you would have to give up to acquire Giannis would deplete the team so much that it's just going to be Fox, Wemby, and Giannis, and you see how those super teams work out.
So we go from like a set up future to a solid team, going to win a lot of games. Obviously, like they are so good. Then, but now you go and add a KD, you go and add a Giannis with Wemby, with De'Aaron Fox. Like, are you kidding me? Like, and they have Sohan, Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Castle, number 2 pick, number 14 pick. They are in such an unbelievable position that they can still keep their young core, keep their young assets for the most part together, while adding a top 5, top 10 NBA player to make them contenders right away.
How are we going to keep all of our assets while adding a Giannis? And they're talking about adding Castle, adding the second pick, adding all of this, Vassell, just to acquire Giannis. Then you got to bring in a bunch of free agents on minimum contracts. There's no way you can keep all your assets while going to get Giannis, unless the Bucks are just stupid.
Yeah, you don't want to be in Wemby's 3rd, 4th year talking about potential still, right?
No.
Like, yeah, this is the season where
We're going to his 3rd year. He's 21 years old. I understand he's a generational talent, but you don't just sell the farm for an aging Giannis. The Spurs have built their assets for so long, and they're finally at a place where they could cash in and get the number 2 pick to add to this core, and you want to sell it for Giannis? The Spurs are going to make the playoffs next season. I'm sure Wemby is cool with that. Like, I know he wants to go further and win a championship as he should, but I know that if he makes the playoffs and you look at the progression from year 1 to year 3, that's not alarming. Teams would love to have a 3-year progression to get Victor Wembanyama in the playoffs, and then from there, you're a contender every single year. After this upcoming season where they get into the playoffs and they get a taste of what that's like, they're going to be contenders for 10 plus years. I guarantee it. And so just trading for Giannis would shrink that window tremendously.
So going to get another player, that delays your clock. That if you add an Ace Bailey to this, we're still talking potential. No, you want to start seeing some of the fruits of the labor and the reason why you're building this team out. So I think they're in a different position. Like I said, I think they go out, they get the best player available, and They allowed.
You have a win now player already in De'Aaron Fox. Look at the Rockets. They were the number 2 seed, and they don't have a player as good as De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox will be the best player on the Rockets, and he's our second best player. We have Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox. We have enough star power to get us into the playoffs. At this point in time, it's the supporting cast. It's the backup centers. It's the 3-and-D wing that we need. We don't need a Giannis. Man, let me know what y'all guys think.
That to be somebody else's potential, and we're trying to put ourselves in a position to win right now.
Dangle that no state tax. That's always a little fun carrot for everybody to think about. Okay, we know that mathematically the 3 biggest losers were obviously Washington, Charlotte, and Utah. And yes,
Okay, so that's the end of the clip, man. Y'all let me know what y'all guys think. Do y'all agree with them? Or do y'all agree with me? Because I do not think you package these up and go trade for Giannis. But that's what they seem to think because you need a win now move. But I think we had that in De'Aaron Fox already. So let me know y'all's guys' thoughts. Leave a like as always. And be sure to subscribe to Spurs Spotlight. Original link to this video will be down in the description if you want to watch the entire thing. But with that being said, it has been your boy Chris. And I will catch y'all later. I'm out.